Yes, welcome to today's class, Academic Writing and Publication. Today is our fifth section of the Scale-Up program, and we strongly believe that we are learning from the program and we are gaining skills and experience to be able to write our thesis and our papers very well. Yes, today we'll be looking at, okay, before that, last week we looked at how to be able to review literatures and how the fastest and efficient way we can be able to review our literature and have them done in a very quick and a proper way so that we will not be stressed out. But today we'll be looking at how to start from all scratch. Yes, now we are, for the past four sessions, we have been looking at the structure, we have been looking at what should be done. We have looked at all the things. Now we have the skill, we have the knowledge about what academic writing is. We have how it must look like. We also know that the components which must be involved in when you are doing academic writing, we have looked at all those things. Now, what should I do next? Now I have all this idea. Where can I start? Where do I go? I have the ideas. I know what it entails. I know how it must be put. What should I do? And today's class is focused on that. We are going to look at how you will start from a blank page all the way to a polished manuscript or a polished academic writing. That is what we are going to look at today. So today, that is basically what we are going to look at here. So we are going to look at from a blank space. Now you have a blank space. You don't have any, you want to start your class, you just have a blank space and you want to write your paper. What should you do? Where will you start from? All the way to that place. So we are going to take step-by-step process. What are the things I need to put in place so that I'll be able to write my paper from a blank space in my Word document to the published, well-polished papers I've been seeing and downloading them. How can I also be able to do that? So this is what we'll be looking at. And we'll look at three things. Probably today's class will be very quick. We'll just go through them fast and today will be very quick. We'll look at three things. The first thing we'll be looking at is how can I be productive in writing, the productive way of writing your paper. How can I, because some of us will feel lazy to write, and what can I do to be able to be effective or be productive when I'm writing? So we'll look at productive writing sessions, how to be able to do that, do it practically, not only knowing, okay, academic writing has this, it contains this, but how can you implement what you know? Yes. So the second thing we'll also look at is we'll look at self-editing techniques. How can I edit my own writings? What should I do? How can I be able to know there's error here? What should I do to be able to find out the minor errors and the major ones to be able to correct them? Then the last thing we'll look at is the peer review basics. Yes, because every work, we learned earlier on that every academic work you write or you do must go through a peer review. So you must know the basis of that. So when you're writing, you keep that in mind, and you once you are doing the practical aspect of it, you do that too as well. You keep in mind and follow the rules and the principles governing that. Okay. Yes, before we dive into it, I want to lay this general emphasis on these things before we move into that. Okay, so one of the things, there's always a myth that people want to start their paper today and finish it today. It's not possible. If you want to write a paper, you must have this at the back of your mind that it is not one day thing. It is not just something you start a day, you finish it a day. If you have that kind of mindset, please remove it from your head before we start this process, because it's not done that way. It is not one and done event. Yes, it is not. It is not once and you are done with it and you finish, you wash your hand out of it and you say you are done. No. So that is the first thing I want you to. The reality about it is that your first section or every time you write your first draft, it will be a mess. And when it is a mess, it doesn't mean that you have come to the end of and sometimes these things, it makes us become fatigued and we get fed up and we say, So we must all have this. We must have this at the back of our mind that it is a process, and you must follow the process. You must endure to the end when you start. It's not a one-day thing where you just start and you finish it and you say, I'm done with my work. Yes, and yes, you may write a first draft, which will look very nice, but that will not be all. Trust me, no matter how good you are in writing, your first draft will never be the perfect one. Yes, your first draft will never be the perfect one. But as time goes on, you will now refine it and it will become very better. Okay, then there are three pillars I want us to. I'm sorry. Okay. Yes, there are three pillars I want us to keep in mind once we go ahead. The first one is productive writing, overcoming the barriers. So you must be productive. You must be able to calm that barrier. Don't postpone. You must be ready to say, okay, I'm taking this upon myself and I will do it. So overcoming the barriers, these are some of the things you must put in place to, or you must look out for that. You'll be able to overcome them. Then the third thing is what? Multiple perspective, which is the self-editing. Okay, now let's move into, this is just a brief summary of whatever we are going to do. Now let's move into what we'll be doing today. So the first one is the strategies for productive writing sessions. And I have three things we are going to look at to be able to have a productive section of writing, or a strategy you can keep in place to be able to be very productive in the section where you want to write. Because now we have all the ideas. We know the format, we have the structure, we know how review must be done. You have this all idea. You know how to find the gap, you know how to identify the object, to write your objective, your research question, all these things. But how can you be productive when you are putting these things on paper? Yes, so these are the things we are going to look at today. And that is the most important aspect. You can have the knowledge, you can have the idea, but if you don't put it down on paper, you have not done anything. And sometimes it's very difficult to do it. But I'm sharing these strategies with us so that we can be able to use this strategy to be able to help us to be able to bring what we know in our head on paper and make it a reality to us. So the first thing we'll look at with this is this one, which is known as the tomatoes techniques. Yes, it was designed by an Italian university student who wants to be able to focus on his studies. And he brought this technique out that if you want to write or you want to focus and do something, you would time yourself for 25 minutes and you leave every distraction. You put your phone off your data, you put your Instagram, your Twitter, everything, you put it aside. Just focus for 25 minutes. The little one, that little 25 minutes, just focus and do one thing and do your writing. So this technique is very effective. If any of us is struggling to write your paper or having difficulties to sit down and do your work, I would advise you to start with this one because this is just a little time, 25 minutes. Put your phone aside, just be with your laptop and focus. So every 25 minutes you go on break. Then after every fourth session of 25 minutes, you go for a longer break for 15 minutes. So within the 5 minutes, you go back to your phone and do whatever you want to do. Then you come back again and focus. So this helps you to be able to be productive enough, and it helps you to be able to achieve goals little by little. Dr. Iba, I'll be happy if you can mute your mic. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so little by little. So it removes the pressure from you for waiting to gain inspiration. Because in a little 25 minutes, you're going to do something very productive. So there will not be too much pressure on you. Because most of us, we feel the pressure that, hey, I have this idea. How can I put them together? Unless you sit down and do something, you cannot put them together. And most of us, we are scared that when we put them together, it will not look nice. Yes, that is how it must be. It will not look nice when you put your first idea or draft down. It will be in a mess. It will be in a mess. No matter how good writer you are, no matter how long you have been writing, anything you have been writing, your first draft will always be a mess. But as time goes on, you keep going over and over again, then you'll now better it. It will be like the nice papers you see all out there. All the publications or all articles you see online, they are very nicely. They start from the scratch where there was a blank page. And they start little by little, achieving little goals by little goals. And along the line, they were able to make it look better. So it creates the momentum to So once you do that, you in the first 25 minutes, if you are able to read maybe 3 paragraphs or 4 paragraphs in that section, you get the momentum to say, I've learned something. So is this technique, that's what it happens to you when you use it. This is what it gives you. It gives you what momentum to start, because you start to achieve little goals, small goals, and once you do that, you are motivated to do more, and it prevents you from procrastination, because 15 minutes, you know that in a day you may have maybe 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 sections of 25 minutes, and with these it will help you to be able to achieve something, and you will not procrastinate to say, I will do it tomorrow, I'm tired. If you are tired, just 25 minutes will not be too much for you to say you are tired. And if you keep the rule and put every distraction aside, I think you'll be able to progress little by little. Yeah, so that's the first thing. Time box focus. You box yourself in a time to say, I have to focus on this in 25 minutes and put something down. Very important, very important. Any questions so far? But before that, let me share the last thing before we go on with this technique, the strategy of writing. Okay, so the next thing is this one, the writing approach. Yeah, now you have made the time to sit down, which is the 25 minutes. Now, what should I put on the paper, or what should I put on that blank screen of mine? Where should I start? Yes, when we started the class earlier on, everybody has his way of doing this, but you must understand that it is not always the way that you will start from the top to the bottom, like the way we talk about the IM structure. It's not always you start from the top. There are always a way to write it. The best way is not linear. Writing a research article is not a linear way of writing it. That, okay, I have to write the introduction. After that, I have to go and write the methodology. After that, I have to follow that order. No, it's not like that. It is not a linear writing, or it is not it is a non-linear writing. Yes, let me put it. It's not a linear way of writing it. That if I don't finish the introduction, I can't go to the methodology. No. Or if I don't finish the methodology, I can't discuss the result once you have the data there already. No. So you must be able to find your way out of this and work around. And when I was talking with you the last time, I recommend this order for you, that the methodology is always, that is the first thing you bring out, or you will have in mind that this is how I'm going to execute this thing. So that will be inspired by you. That's what you have first, because if you have find the gap, you have find the missing thing, and you want to solve it, the first thing you ask yourself is, how can I fix this? Or how am I going to write this? How am I going to do this to be able to achieve or fix this problem? So that which you are finding to fix, or the way you are using to fix it, is your methodology. So it is easy to write that process first. So if you can see from our recommended order, the methodology or the method is the first one. It is the first one in this place. So you can easily write that one because you already have that. But some people prefer to say they'll go from the introduction and move to the other aspect of it. But I would recommend this order for you. Then the next thing you must also look at is the result, because after everything, you have your results, you have your method in place. You are going to gather the data. You are going to go into to find your data. When you have your data, you can easily write your results and your discussion. So those processes can come on. Then you now come back and focus on your literature review, which will be in the introduction section. Because when you are able to achieve all this, then you can, or when you get your data and you know what you can use your data to achieve, it will help you to, when we are looking at the introduction, we look at that the last 2 paragraphs are where you keep your objective, your aim, and how you went about doing it. So your method and your results can give you, or your data can give you a clear view about what you can achieve. Sometimes you may say you want to achieve this, but at the end, the data you have or the results you have can make your objective be shifted a little bit, or you can modify it. So when you are able to do that in the process of writing your results and your discussion, when you now come to write the introduction, you know what you have modified, and you can be able to write the introduction to perfection. So that you don't go back and be looking at it. Where did I put the objective? Where did I put this, and be struggling? But when you now know your result, you know objective, you know that, okay, this is what my data has been able to help me to achieve. And when you go back to write your introduction, that part of it will be so smooth for you to write and easy for you to do as well. Yes. So that is it. Then so that's one aspect, the strategy of writing. The other aspect is you should shut up and write. Yes, this one is very straightforward. If someone hears me, you should type that in the chat box and say, shut up and write. Stop talking and stop complaining. Just shut up and write. And this shut up and write, it entails two things, which I'll be sharing with us. Yes, if you can hear me, type that in the chat box. Shut up and write. Yes, 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 yes. Shut up and write. Stop complaining. Stop talking. I can't find this. I can't do this. There are always a way out. The first thing I will talk about is that you should find a community. Yes, I want to put this on record. Most of us want to do it on our own and say, oh, I did it by myself. No, this thing is not done alone. You need people around you who will help you. So if possible, find people in your field and create a group where you can have your meetings on virtual platforms. Where even with the 25 sections, the first one we talked about, you can say, okay, on Tuesday, we want to have 4 sections, which will be 25 minutes, 25. But before we begin, we'll be on a Zoom platform. Yes, our Zoom, the free Zoom is 40 minutes. You can have a Zoom platform where all of you will be on the Zoom. You make sure every distraction, your camera is on. You'll be looking at each other, you'll be doing your work so that you know that you are focusing. Your other partner is watching, or your other members of the group are watching, and you will be accountable. This place where you need to be accountable. When you're writing, you must find people you'll be accountable to. And it is very helpful because if you don't have that, you will not be able to do the work. That is why you must shut up and write, because you must have people around you who you'll be accountable to. You are saying you are not able to write because you don't have anybody you are accountable to. If you have people who you are accountable to, who you know they will call you to ask you, hey, doc, hey, this, have you done this? We said we'll do this. Have you been able, if you have people like that, in your mind, it will be ringing and you will stand up and do the work. So find people in the same fold with you and work with them hand in hand. It is not a competition to say, I want to write 10 papers and I'll be the best among my people. No, it's not a competition. The nice thing about our research is that when you write your paper, all of your name can be on the same paper, and it's an achievement to all of you. And this will help all of us. We are not in competition with anyone, no. We are just here to learn and better yourself. And one thing I've noticed, we those who have left, okay, let me say this on record too. We who are here, we want to say, I want to do it on my own. I want to do it by myself. No one can be in charge of me. I'm the boss of myself. Yes, it's true, you are the boss. But in terms of learning, you must have somebody who you are accountable to. And this will help you. Even if you can meet in person, I would advise you have people around you, you meet in person, talk about what you are doing. And this will help you so much. You'll be able to work very fast. You work very fast. You without even noticing that you are working. So shut up and write. You don't have any excuse to say, I don't have idea. Because if you have people around you, one way or the other, if you cannot analyze the data, somebody will be able to analyze the data and analyze the data for you whilst you're moving. If you cannot be able to find your, do the literature, somebody will be able to have a hand on that and help you to do that. And we'll work together as a team. That is why we are here as Ghanaians. That's why our leaders have organized a program like this for us. So we can be able to learn from one another and grow together. Like the way Prof has said in the group. Yes, you are not in competition with your old self. Strive to learn something new every day. Yes, your old self has passed already. Don't compete with that to say, I'm still like that. No. Try to learn something new and join groups who will help you to improve yourself. It's very important. If you want to really do well in academics, academia, or you want to do well in this academic writing, please find people you'll be accountable to. Find people you'll be accountable to. Find people you'll be accountable to. Join. Distance in China here is not a barrier. Zoom, there are a lot of virtual platforms there you can join, and or 3 or 4 people can bring their idea together and they'll grow together. So try as much as possible. Okay, then that is what we have for this writing strategy. Any question or any contribution to add to this before we move on to the next thing, which is the self-editing and the self-editing.
Can I ask you something?
Okay, feel free.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor, for just sharing us about these strategies that we can use while writing.
Mm,
Maybe last class we talked about how literature is more powerful when we are writing our papers.
mm,
And then I had what the literatures mainly focus about. And at that time also we discussed how many researchers should start from a literature instead of introduction. And
mm,
then that is where I got that we got the idea, we got the gaps, we know what is missing
mm,
from the literatures that we are reading. We can easily find the gaps. Then later it, we can see from these gaps, what do I think is going to be the solution?
mm,
So from there, I thought that maybe after literature, that's where we can continue from methodology because we know the problem, we know what others failed to achieve, and we know what are we going to do. Then from that or concepts from a literature review, we are going to continue the methodologies to provide a concrete schedule about how are we going to solve these such gaps or problems that have been found in literatures. But now today's class, I see that we need to start from methodology,
mm,
which is going to be describing all the procedures that we can use to solve some of the gap. But the
mm.
problem is, so where did we get that gaps? If we start from if we start from the methodology, where we get the gap, so what are we going to solve if we don't know it? So that's what I'm having as a confusion, and I want you please kindly clarify this to me.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was a very excellent question. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, if you are doing literature review, doesn't mean you are writing introduction. Let's get that right. If
Okay.
you do your literature review, it doesn't guarantee your introduction or writing of your introduction, because writing of introduction, when we look at it, you must have the review at the top. Then now you state your method. Now you look at your objective, your aim, then the method you are about to use to do your work. You give a brief summary about the method you are going to use.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So if
Okay.
even you write it now and you have the method, you have done your review. If you do your review, through the review, you find your gap, you find what is missing, and you now work on it. But when you do the review, doesn't mean you have written your introduction, because that is one part of it, is a part of the introduction. I don't know if that makes
Okay.
sense to you. It is
Yes,
not,
I do understand.
yeah, it's not a complete introduction. When you do review, it doesn't mean you have done a full introduction, because the introduction to be complete, you need to have your objective, you need to have your aim, even your hypothesis. All those things must be included. But how sure are you that what you have put there is what you'll be able to get when you put the method you said you are going to achieve? So your method section is what you want to do. So it's easily to have that part when you find your missing gap. Because when you find your missing gap, the next thing you'll be asking, when you do your literature review and you find your missing gap, the next question you'll be asking yourself there, what can I do to be able to achieve this? Or what can I do to be able to solve this missing gap? What is the process I will take to be able to solve this thing? So when you have that, your method is already solved. You already have your method in place. But keep in mind, your introduction, you don't know, your objective may be stated, but how sure are you that the method you are using, you'll be able to use to achieve that method, that objective you have? So sometimes you may have it, it will guide you through the process to where you are going. But at the end of it, the result and what you have, the data you have, will not determine truly if you can achieve those objectives stated there. Sometimes you may state objective, but you will get your data and you not say, no, I must adjust this objective to suit the data I have now. So now your introduction, you are going back to edit the whole process again. Yes, you may have it, but we advise that you keep it down. Just start with the method, because the methodology is the process you're going to take to write it, which you will have it completely before you go into it. So it's easily to start that part. I don't know if I've answered you, but if anyone has add up to him, I'll be so much grateful.
Got you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Any contribution from anyone to add up to?
Yes, I think you have answered him perfectly. But one thing I just want to add is that
Mm.
these things are not cast in stone or they are not cast in metal. Okay.
Yes.
Even the literature review, why are you doing the literature review? Why? Why do I do a literature review? Definitely something came to mind. You
Mm.
brainstorm about particular thing you wanted to do.
Mm.
So it's based on the literature review that you are because of whatever you have brainstormed about or you thought about. That's why you're reading a particular paper to find out what has been done in that particular area. Similarly, the same thing that will lead you to the methodology and the result session that he talks about. So it is not that you have to, when you review the literature, you have to come to methodology, or because we said that you have to start from the methodology before the literature review, you must necessarily start from there. No. One thing that is key is that what are you doing? Why do you want to do that? It is based on that will lead you to all this process. So that's what I want to add to what you've said.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much, Doc. That was a powerful contribution. Yes, Professor Bruce towards this is, and Prof, you have the mic.
All right, all right. So I think Dr. Mauli has said it also. You've also answered it very well. Um, writing is an art. Okay, you develop your own style over time. Yes, we are here as facilitators to guide you, but at the end of the day, you would find a more tailored approach that works for you. Okay, I know people who start writing from references. I know people who start writing from literature. I know people who start writing from methodology. If you've worked over and over and over, you realize that the methodology you use doesn't really change over time. Okay, if especially you are in the same field and you're not innovating that much, okay, you are using the same tools, the same processes every time. Maybe it's just the data sets that are changing. So you realize that your methodology becomes kind of static, not so different. So that will be the first thing you can write. I would say that it depends on your kind of study. Okay. For example, maybe or what situation you are in at the moment. Let's say you are collecting data and you feel that okay, once you have sent the surveys around, you have nothing to do. That's when you can go into writing or try to write your methodology. Okay, it's kind of trying to save time so that you don't have some long gap, or maybe your lab equipment is faulty, or for example, there's holiday, so you cannot go to the lab. What do you do? Do you sleep? No, you can take some literature to read, you can take some methodology, or start to write some parts of your paper. The whole aim is that you have the house built in such a way that it's less stressful. That's the paper being the house. Okay, so which part can you start writing now? Okay, at one point in time, you started writing the literature before you even thought about methodology. That's fine. You were reading and writing. I always say that don't read alone, read and write because you forget what you read. Okay. So at the point where you are reading literature, you are also writing some literature. Okay, that's to help you synthesize what you are doing, whether through the notepad or through whatever means. You are not reading alone, but you are reading and writing. Now, what's the purpose of reading? Sometimes you read at a certain stage just for information, okay, or just to explore methodology. You are reading the literature to explore a certain methodology. Okay, what methodologies can I use, or what methodologies are now trending? Can I use machine learning to handle this data? So even though you are doing literature at that moment, your focus is to explore literature in such a way that you are getting the methodology from the literature. So will you say you are writing methodology or literature? Maybe that's the question you have to answer at that moment. But you can also read the references to explore, okay, how do people craft their introduction? That's why you are reading the papers. It's a form of literature review.
Yeah.
Okay, what are the keywords that are being used at that time? So it's still literature review, but the focus is on introduction, or the focus is on keywords, or the focus could be on methodology. Or maybe you are just looking for, okay, who is the top guy in this field? And that's why I'm reviewing the literature. So I'm finding which labs I can reach out to, which other groups can help me do the work. Like I said, as you are reading, you are making notes. So it's a form of writing. If you are doing an annotated literature review, at that moment, what are you doing? You are not only reading to consume the data, you are reading to write and to say, okay, these are the people who I can reach out to. These are the people that I can follow their work. I can see them as role models or people who are leading the field. So at that moment when I'm reading, I'm finding the leading people. I can also read just for data sets, right? I have like 10 papers I'm reading, but I'm only fishing out for data sets. I can open 1,000 papers and the focus is which of these have data sets that I've given out as supplementary data, or I can get a link to go there.
Yeah.
So literature review, it's a whole dicey game. But as you are reading, make sure you are writing. But if it comes to your paper, right, like I said, depending on who you are, your methodology could be fixed. You can't change it much because maybe you are following a protocol that is in your lab, or you are following a certain thing or skill that you are used to. Maybe you are using only machine learning, or you are using, let's say, econometric models. So nothing will change much. The same words you use in your first paper will still be in your third paper. Not so different, right? So you can start from there if you have time. Or maybe you are collaborating with someone. So let's say I tell you that start with methodology, but maybe that part of the methodology is written by another person. What do? You see? So it depends. But at the end of the day, who are you? What kind of writer are you? You have to decide for yourself. Okay, so yes, start from literature. Okay, it works. Does it work for you? Yes or no? You have to answer it by yourself. Start from methodology. Does it work for you? So yeah, but at the end of the day, don't just read or just don't do the literature. If literature is working for you, make sure you are writing at that moment. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
There's full of wisdom in the house. Yes, I'm learning myself a lot now. Wow. Read and write. When you're reading, you write alongside. And it depends on the field in which you are. What Prof said right now is true. My field, I think we have a structured method. It's just some few things you just have to keep. So we keep the method there and we keep changing. Yes, so it's very true. So know who you are. Yes, that is why it is recommended. It is not that is the static way of writing it. It is recommended. That's a recommendation. Recommendation you decide, and you must know if it is suitable for you or not. Yeah, so thank you so much for the contribution from our professors and doctors. We really appreciate you all for that powerful contribution. Yes, now we will go on to any other question before we move on to the self-editing techniques, or any other contribution to other. Okay, then let's move on to the next thing, which is what self-editing. If you are following, just type self-editing in the chat box. Self-editing, 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 self-editing. Yes, self-editing. Yes. Self-editing techniques. Yes, because it's very important. When you write, you must edit it. Yes, after now putting everything down, how do I go about it to know there's mistakes in them? How can I figure out what is wrong? How would I be able to know? So these are few techniques we are sharing. And as they said earlier on, they are just techniques. It is not that you must follow it compulsory by all means, but they are techniques which you can try. If it works for you, fine. If it doesn't work for you, you try. There are a lot of techniques out there you can try as well. But this is just a suggested one. Okay, now you must look out for the structure. The first thing when you want to do your self-editing is that you must look for the structure. You must look out for the structure. What I'm writing, is it following a certain structure? And is all the structure in place? So after finished writing or after putting everything down, I've been able to write my paper. When I want to do self-editing, the first thing I must do is that I must look at the structure with clarity. Is the structure in place? Does it follow the introduction, the method, the result, the discussion structure? Does it follow that? Is that accurately in place? And once you are doing that, you said that Prof just told us that you read and write. So once you are reading that, or you are looking through each section or each structure sections under the structure, you read and you make comment attached to them, so that you will come back to see if this indeed is working. So that is the first thing. You must read paragraph by paragraph in each section of your paper or your writing. Then now you put what? A sentence, or you summarize each paragraph in a sentence attached, or you add a comment to it. So that before you come back again and look at them, you'll be able to have a good workplace there. Because when you don't do that, when you read and just leave, you forget. Like Prof said, you must read and write. You read and put comment, you add comment to it. You must do that. This is very important. After writing your draft, read through it, write one sentence summarizing each paragraph, saying in the margin. So when you read the paragraph in introduction, what does this paragraph mean? What is it focusing on? You make a one sentence as a comment attached to it. If you are not able to summarize your paragraphs in one sentences or in sentences, short sentences, or focusing, it doesn't have one focus in a paragraph, then you should know that your work needs to be improved upon. So this is what gives you your fair idea about what you have written or what you have done. And also how to diagnose two topics in one paragraph or more, two or more topics in one paragraph. How do you diagnose it? So when you read your work and you find out that there are too many things in one paragraph, you must split them. Or so when you read one paragraph, now you have taken your work, you are reading, I'm reading the first paragraph and I'm writing. This thing I've written so many points out of this paragraph. It means that your paragraph must be breaking down. It must be split out because paragraph does not have to contain too many ideas or two ideas, just one idea in a paragraph. That is how it must be. Then you must also follow the logical gap. Does this follow the pattern or the structure which has been placed for us to do? So you print your draft. It's very important to print your draft and have hard copy. Like someone like me who like to read hard copy. You have to print it out after writing everything, print it out and write. What you are reading, you are writing attached to it. Make it messy, write on it. Let it be messy, but know what you are writing on it so that when you pick it, you'll be able to find it out. And also identify the issues, the mark paragraph needing what organization. Identify, okay, this paragraph, I didn't do it well. Notice them, put comments attached to them. When you are doing it in soft copy, people who like the soft copy way, make sure you notice. If you can highlight it and put a comment attached to it so that when you come back to work on the review you have done or the editing you have done by yourself, you will be able to notify that this was what was wrong with this is what is wrong with it. And you'll be able to work on it. And this is what I will also say. After you have write any of your paper finished, or after you have finished doing every editing, leave your paper down after every 24 hours or leave it for some time before you come back to do your editing. Don't finish writing and you want to do editing straight away. No. When you do that, you will miss it up because the brain has been programmed in a way that when it does something instantly, it is not able to detect much error from it because it believes in itself that what he has done is perfect. Until over some time before he'll be able to find the gaps or yes, Professor Bruce, I'll give the mic to you soon for you to speak to it. So you leave it down for some time and come back to it to edit it. And it's very important. Okay, now, Prof, you can speak to us now.
Okay, so just a quick addition. For the editing and writing, there was this advice one professor gave me. He said, after you are done writing, print out the work if you can in black and white. Don't print it in color. Print everything out in black and white and see if you like what you see. Some easy errors will pop up at you when you read it on the hard copy. It's a bit costly, but it works. Then the second advice he gave is after you are done, email the work to yourself so that you get the work in how do you call it? In a week's time. Yeah, it's in an email form, but you will not receive it until in a week's time. You can, if you are using Google or any other email service, you can do that where you customize the delivery date on a certain date. I'm sure we all can do that. Then you deliver the work. So you can do whatever you can do, just work on any other thing. And then when it arrives in your email within a week, you realize that there's so many parts of the work you have even forgotten by yourself, right? And then looking at it from a fresh eye, it sometimes helps you to be able to edit the obvious mistakes. The importance is the obvious mistakes because the work will never be perfect. Even I can take a published paper online from Nature or any of those high impact journals, and then once we start to dissect it, you realize that there's a lot of errors. But what we are trying to avoid, especially for preventing text rejection, is the obvious errors. Like once anyone picks it up, they realize that no, this one is not good, right? So that our works can go under review. Yeah, so this is what I wanted to add.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prof. I think Prof has finished my slide for me now. Thank you so much, Prof. That was an excellent contribution. Prof has done the work. We are done for the class right now. Yes, you email it. What Prof has said, you email it. You wait for a certain time before you look at your work again. and that will help you to be able to find the gaps in it. Okay, now let's go to, I think Prof has talked about this one. When you print it out, you read it aloud, you look at it, wait, and then I call it the 24 hours rule, which Prof has added to it that do it a week time. So you keep it to a week time, you will now come back to it to look at it. It will help you to find the gaps or the mistakes which you have made in them. And it's very helpful. Any question or any contribution? And which Prof has talked about the peer review, which is the last thing we were going to talk about. To have people around, which I said earlier on, have a group of people or virtual community or even in-person community where you'll be able to give your work out to them to be able to review it for you. And if you have found in that group what you should do, we will look at that in the next slide. But before that, any question or any contribution to this before we move on? Any question? Oh, no question. Okay, that means we are following. Okay, so the next thing, which will be the, okay, yes. Prof, you can go ahead.
Since we are talking about editing and then all that, sometimes we realize that we wait till the last moment and then we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, right? Or sometimes for no reason or no fault of yours, you have a deadline. Let's say you have to submit your thesis in, let's say, after the holidays, right? And then you know that that's the deadline. And then now that it's on holidays, you are submitting your thesis to your supervisor. Okay. I'm just adding that in just for the sake of us who are all in school, because our supervisor also has deadlines, right? He's also a human being. And just like you are also tired at some point, even though you are the one trying to write the paper, you are even tired of the paper. Let's be honest. You've read and overread, and you're like, this thing should just leave my desk, right? Just that same feeling you have, that's the same feeling your supervisor also may have, right? Receiving your paper, because they also have other students they are looking at. So I would say that we should, in as much as we plan our own writing, our own editing, we should look at the receiving end, especially the one who passed the work. If like you're an independent researcher, then that's fine. But if you have a supervisor or a senior, you sending the work to them, also consider him, that the work you are going to give to him, is it easy for him to also sit down to read through your work? Is it in that form yet? Right? Because sometimes I say it's the 3-step rule, right? Before I'll give it to my supervisor, someone else must see it before, so that the very obvious full stops, comma, I will not let my supervisor see it, not because I want a good face in front of him, but so that I can get the best out of him.
Yeah.
Right? Because if he's being distracted by the full stops, the comma, some formatting issues, then that's what he'll be complaining about. Instead of telling me, okay, this phrase, write it this way. Okay, this is how it will be better if you take the technical terms like we discussed in our previous class. Yes, the technical terms. And then that's where you get to learn from your supervisor. And he won't tell you that go and read. He's telling you go and read again because he's seeing things that normal papers don't have, right? A finished paper should not have some things that you are still having. So instead of him telling you, he'll say politely, go and read more papers, even though you have finished your manuscript. He'll say no. And then maybe the paper lacks structure and all those gibberish they try to make it polite, like, yes. Or even sometimes after the first review, it has come back. You as an English speaker, you have a comment like, make sure it's being proofread by a native.
Yes.
It's not because you can't speak English. It's because some of the sentences are too awkward, like, or maybe too heavy English. For those who like writing ChatGPT work, right? ChatGPT writes in a certain way, and it's very obvious when you open the paper, you see that some words that are even the paper, you yourself don't even understand it, but you have put it in your paper under your name. So we should consider that before it gets to the final pass, that's our supervisor or whoever is in charge, somebody else should read. And I think that's where the peer review or the group system, that if you have some group that you are working with, comes in. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Today, Prof, you have made my way so easier for me. Yes, Professor Mowley, you can also have the mic and speak to us. Today, I think our class is sweet and easy to go.
Oh, no, that. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, like we had like what Prof have said. I just want to add that you see, sometimes when you share your work with your peers or a group writing people, please, some of them they give a divergent view, but that divergent view is actually will help you look at the other side of the work. Try to harmonize those views and pay attention to. Don't say that the person want to delay your work. No, whatever concerns they raise, make sure you understand it. Try to address. If you don't understand, consult them, and maybe they will explain a point or two to you that when you address them, it will help improve your work, and that when you meet your supervisor, things become easier. So don't say that maybe you send a work to me and say, oh, the comment I have passed is so difficult that I cannot address. So let me send it to my supervisor. Whatever he says, after all, he's the final. No, please try to understand. If you don't understand, consult the person who peer reviewed your work or who edited the work for you and seek better understanding, because it helps broaden your mind, it helps make you understand the work or what you are doing better. So I just want to add that let us basically the group writing or sharing with peers is very, very critical. But trust that peer, because some peers are not to be trusted. Trust the person, that the person will not go backdoor and use your work for any other thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Which is our last slide we have talked about. Okay, Prof, you can also speak to Professor Bruce.
Sorry, I have to come back again. So I put a link in the chat box. If everyone can see, I'm specifically not mentioning it because of we are recording. Okay, so let's say you don't have any. Oh, I'm alone. I'm the only person in my province. I'm the only one doing my course. Okay, look at that link I've sent to you. If you have ChatGPT, you can send your work there. Okay. And then there's so many of them online now. Some of them you have to pay, some of them you don't have to pay. This particular one you don't have to pay. So this is like an initial reviewer. Okay, just put your work there. There are issues. I should be send a link. Okay, there are issues with does my work come online? Does it contribute to plagiarism and all that? No, it's such a system that you can trust it. Okay, there are some you can trust, but the one I put there, I know it. You can trust it because it doesn't really. It just gives you the review and does not learn from the data. Okay. So it will give you very basic and sometimes even advanced, depending on how well you are good with the prompting, reviews about your work, like an expert. So you can start like an expert in, or as a professor from, or as a reviewer from, let's say, Journal of Cleaner Production. Okay, for an example, in a Q1 paper, give me reviews that a typical professor will give you. Okay, so it will give you the very obvious mistakes in your work. Sometimes you didn't see that you've duplicated some references. It will tell you all that. So this will help you to tidy up the work before you submit it or before you give it to your teacher. So when it gets there, it's almost like 70%. Okay, it's not entirely. Of course, even after that, when an expert sees it, he can give very obvious mistakes. But like things like with formatting, spelling mistakes, the alignment of your work, some part is too heavy and all that. It will give you very, very good feedback. I trust it. That's why I'm putting it here. But the other ones, sometimes you can pay, I think it's $10 or something. They are more online where they give you that kind of feedback. And it's all about arrangement and making your work look better. So if you can take this feedback and incorporate it to your work, at least you have a second or third eye that have looked at your work before you give it to another person who is your senior or before you submit it. So I just wanted to share this resource also.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof, for that powerful contribution and the link to as well. Yes, I think today's class has ended already because everything has been shared already. Yes, they have said everything. Any question or any contribution from someone, then I will just brush through this and we'll call it a day. Because they have talked about, oh, what is my PPT now? I don't have anything to share again. So I think they have done a very good job for us. Please, let's celebrate them in the chat box for having them with a mighty mind. Let's celebrate them. Let's celebrate them. You can just send a love emoji in the chat box so that we celebrate them. Yes, 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 yes. That was powerful. There's so much knowledge here. There's so much knowledge here. And we appreciate that. Yes. Yes, so don't take some reviews from when you have a community and someone gives you a review, don't take it personal, like the way they shared. you must look at it. Someone may review it in a certain way. You feel like this person wants to attack my work, to underestimate my effort or something. But it helps you to look at it and find and be able to work on all the loopholes which are found in your work. So don't take it personal. You must take it as a way of what making your work become better or building on it. So you don't need to take reviews personal. And even if you submit to peer review and some of the reviewers give you comment back to work on, don't take them personal. This is a way to and you yourself, when you are reviewing someone's work, you should also know how to review it and don't be emotional about it or any other thing. Just review it and give your opinion on how or things must be done. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think that is all for today, all the same, but I think let me look at the last slide. If you have something there, then probably we may share some small tips. Then we'll... Okay. Yes, I think it's still the same thing. Argument logic, organizing structure, clarity and style, grammar and mechanism. You should look out for these things, very important. So the first part, read for your argument flow only. When you want to edit your paper, when you're reading, look at it and see the argument. Is this argument making sense? Does it follow? So look at that part of it first. Then secondly, identify the structure issue. Look at it and see if it follows the structure which is recommended for your field or where you are working in. And then the next thing, what I address the clarity and the style, which the style I'm using, the terminology, the keywords, try to look out for them and address them. Then the final part is what your grammar and what mechanism. So when you have community or you have people around you, or the link like Prof have shared in the group, you'll be able to help you do this and do it faster. But I also encourage that we have groups and we work with, because it helps us to move very faster. Because when you have a group, you are able to work together hand in hand. You are able to have a lot of papers, because some schools only accept maybe probably the second author or the third author, but because you work with someone, the person can put you as the second author or you become the first author. And with that, we are growing together and we will have a lot of papers out there and we'll move forward in the academia or any other aspect of our life. So thank you so much for today's class. And I'm so happy to, yes, Mr. Bruce, yes, Professor Bruce, sorry, you can have the.
All right. Just a quick addition. Sometimes it's very, very painful. We do all the work and then we lose our work. So I just want to talk about that. It's very, very important. Okay. I always advise my mentees that before you shut down your computer, share the work somewhere. Don't trust that, okay, I'll wake up tomorrow and the work will be there. No. Okay. For us in China, just open your WeChat and share it to your file transfer. Let your work be offline, but let it also be online. Okay. You have backups of backups, and try as much as possible to save your work per the day you are working on it. Okay. So if today is 2026, 02017 or something like that. However, you save it. Don't do so much edits in one day. Okay. Even if you realize you are doing too much work in one file, resave it to another day. Okay. So let's say you have a manuscript that you have been working in since last 2 weeks. No, it's very dangerous, because if you lose that number of work you have done, it means that everything is going. But if you have saved it, what you lose is maybe just 1 hour work or 1 day's work, which is easy to catch up as compared to like losing the whole 2 weeks. So try and let's save our works as much as possible. Save it on your WeChat, save it on your OneDrives, which is it's very free. It's free. Like, although it has a limit, you can do this. Your emails, use your emails, the school emails, the Gmails. Don't allow spam to fill your emails alone. Send the work to your email before you shut down your computer, because the next shutting is it shutting up or turning on of the computer, it may not be what you expected. You may see a blue screen. You may see that the computer doesn't want to wake up again. So please, as much as possible, let's also get this habit of saving our work. The Control S is very free. You can press it as many times as you can. Command S for the Mac users is very, very important. Save your work and make duplicates of your work as often as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just want to add to that. I struggled this morning because of that. I lose one of my file. My paper have been withdrawn from a journal and I need to work on it. And the original data and everything, I need to a little bit work on it. I struggled so much because I couldn't save them in a second. It was in a pen drive and I couldn't, the pen drive has virus. I have to struggle today before I'll be able to get my data back. So please, this is very, very good advice to all of us. I struggled this morning. I only spent like 3 to 4 hours this morning be able to get hold of my data. And I was asking myself, why didn't I send it to anywhere? Why didn't I keep it anywhere apart from this thing? So please, it's very important what Prof have just said right now. Make sure you don't save it in one place. Share it across, save it in different places, and to help you to retrieve them so easily. Just imagine that 4 hours of my morning I'll just be wasted just to look for a data, which I could have used to do other things. Yeah, so it's very important. Sometimes it may take you a whole day or a week to even be looking for it. You know, you may not even find it at all. Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm so happy. If there's no question or any contribution, then we'll be ending today's class. Any contribution, any question? Okay, attendance. They are asking for attendance. Please, Dr. Irene, please, can you share your attendance with us here? The attendance code so that they can be able to scan and take attendance. Okay, someone is asking if we are all on, what's the name, LinkedIn. Okay, let me end the recording now.